Let's see. So I have it for ECED 327?
Yes.
Okay. What can I help you with?
I'm doing a lesson plan for my clinical next Tuesday.
Okay.
So what I found out to do was to read this book, The Old Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss.
Ah,
I read this, and then after I read it, I will do this activity, and then the thing they would put on the little plates would be 20 little items, either little pom poms or tissue papers.
okay.
That's what I'm trying to do for it.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so the second below is the instruction.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay. Describe how the context information lesson is a relationship. All right. So name, day, okay, group 10 students, preschool. Lesson title, reading a story and art project. Estimated duration, 30 minutes, creative arts and literature.
Would it be 30 minutes if so-called everything including the reading and the art project?
Are you the one reading?
Yes, I'll be reading.
How long is the book?
This is the book. This is the first page. First page. Second page.
Mm-hmm.
This third one.
Yeah.
They're right there.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
And then I think this
24.
this one was the last one. Yeah.
All right. I would say
To include the art project as part of it too.
very difficult in 30 minutes, right?
So-called my professor, she wants to come at 10:30 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and then observe it to 11. And yeah, that's the time.
So I think then you should start the book earlier so that when she comes, you maybe have like 5, 6 pages left.
So start it at 10.
Yeah.
She comes
Because
at 10:30.
yeah. So then start it at around 10.
Okay.
Simply because what do we count? We counted like 23 pages.
Yeah, 23.
About a minute a page,
Mhm.
probably reading the preschoolers. So
I'm not gonna ask them many
Right.
questions during it.
but
Yeah.
reading slowly, and some of those had a lot of words.
Yeah.
I just give a minute per page in just mathematical estimates. So I think starting it at 10:30 or 10 will give you that when she comes, you'll be finishing the book,
Mm-hmm.
but she'll still get to see you reading,
Mm-hmm.
and then fills in with most of the time with the art activity,
Mhm.
which, is what they like to see.
Yes.
I think that would be a good timetable. Now, as for the art activity, what are they doing on the plates? I know you said they're putting pom-poms and stuff.
Either pom poms or these little paper
Mhm.
or these stickers, 20 of them. Since on that day that schedule usually is they're learning about a number.
Okay.
Next week is their last number that they're gonna learn, which is 20.
Okay.
But since my teacher's coming at that time, they're usually already doing their 20 art projects after they're being read to at
Okay.
like 9 something 10. they usually start their art project at 10. So that's why this will kind of replace-ish their art project for that day.
Right.
But they're still going to do this 20. But I am incorporating their number 20 for that day in this art project. Yes.
So what is the goal for them to do though, like with putting the 20? Just however they feel? Do they need to make a specific picture with the 20 or just
I think for this, they're just like before for this week when they did the number 19, it was they read the Three Little Pigs.
right?
And so like it was a little house and they were filling it in with like little red bricks, 19 of them since the number was 19. So they were filling 19 little bricks in the house.
Okay.
Yes.
So the goal is just they just need to be able to count 20 of them to put it on the plate.
Yes.
But in terms of actually what they make by putting it on the plate doesn't matter.
Yes. It does not matter.
Gotcha. Yeah, sounds fine. And then you'll verify if they got to 20 by coming around and counting with them.
How my the cooperating teachers usually do it is like when every kid is done with all of the steps, they come to the little table with the art supplies and stuff. They I'll be sitting there with the art supply stuff, and then I'll help them or like to ask them, can you count 20 of what you have on the little plate, and then we'll double check, and then when they got it right, maybe give us a little sticker on the little thing, and then
All right, yeah, sounds good. Makes sense. Fits in with your goals. So yeah, I think that setup would be good. You moving up the time that you start the reading will make it better. So I guess the only thing you really have to expand is then maybe list the activity length in total, like 45 minutes, right?
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Make it to 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's coming at 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, 45.
Yep, 45. Because you'll start before she gets there. So by the time she gets there, she'll catch some reading and then the bulk of the activity. Because that's really what you want. Because, you reading isn't really like showing your teaching skills, right?
Yeah.
The activity, that's the money maker.
But for that, like when I'm reading, there will be the 10 little kids on the little carpet. Would that more be like kind of like a whole class since I'm not really at the tables with the kids?
Yeah, but this is encompassing for the both, right?
Yeah, for both.
I think you could leave it, well,
There,
small group, because when the kids are counting, do they get to work with another kid to try to think it together?
so-called when they did the little 10 the little bricks house for the little pigs this week for 19, they were sitting at like different ends of the table. They did it themselves until like they were done with everything, with all the little steps. They went to the teacher to make sure they got it, and then they get the stamp, the stickers, and stuff. Yeah. They're doing it all by themselves.
Okay. Then what I think you could do is says check any that apply. So I think you could do whole class for the reading. Let's see. Structures of grouping.
Would it be everything ish since kind of be one-on-one with checking?
So the only one for that one is I think when it says one-to-one, I'm thinking like teacher student as it meaning for one-to-one, or is that not the case?
I think that sometime is, but I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, so I think you could put whole class and then other, and then have like just
I know it's just specified.
yeah. Then we would specify, I guess, like solo, because if they're doing the art project solo, I guess that would be the word that you could put in there.
So it would be whole class.
Whole class.
Whole class, yes.
Yep.
And other.
Other.
And it would still be small group.
I think we get rid of small group.
Okay.
And since you have to specify, I guess in parentheses, you can just put solo. If you come up with a,
Or would it really be independent?
thank you. I was like, if you come up with a better word, by all means put it in there. Independent work. Yeah, that's the correct one. And that would work. Because it says check any that apply and whole class for the reading, independent work for the art.
And the so-called for the month of March, they're learning about Dr. Seuss for the first week.
Very
But like
nice.
the full month, they will be reading Dr. Seuss. So I was not really sure would it be the beginning, middle, and for that part above the. Since it isn't like it is a new topic for them.
And then I'd say beginning.
Okay. Yeah, I think for this, the little up here, I will need to write a paragraph in between here.
Okay, so let's see. In addition to the checklist below, write a narrative about class and individual characteristics, e.g., background, ethnicity, cognitive and linguistic abilities, socio-emotional development, socioeconomic status. Yeah. Oh, describe how the context informs your lesson design, including the relationship of the lesson to the unit being studied in the overall curriculum. Okay. Yep. Then there would be a paragraph that answers those two questions.
When I did it before for the fall, I kind of came up with something like this. It was not a really real classroom, but I had written something like these for it.
Let's see. Class members and students who come from diverse backgrounds, ethnicities, represented class or Caucasian, Hispanic, American, Native American, Indian, and Asian. There are 3 English language learner students in the classroom, 2 students with an individual with an IEP. These students in the classroom grew up in single and 2-parent households with all parents working full-time jobs. The parents of all children vary in choice and learning. They are volunteers in the classroom during the field trips. Very nice. And parents usually show up for student performances. Nice. This lesson will take place in the middle of the school year. This lesson is next with the group of students because it is in the middle of the year. Pumpkins will all around their neighborhoods. This would be a review lesson to see how other students will be able to short sentences about a story. That read a book to the students. Teacher will ask a question about how the story meant and ask them. Talk teacher the lesson answer questions to see how the teacher will then tell the students to show what they have learned with other students in the class and will then write 2 or 2 sentences about part of the story, which is summary of the story. Since we get a chance to read a question of the story. All right. Then let's go back to the other one just so I can read the instructions.
But the instructions should be similar.
All right. All right. In addition to trying to run about class and individual characteristics, okay, you gave background, ethnicity, cognitive and linguistic abilities, and socio-emotional development, socioeconomic background. Yeah, I think you covered that. Then describe how the context informs your lessons design, including the relationship of lessons to the unit being studied. Yeah, I'd say that is fairly encapsulates the 2 questions being asked.
For this little classroom that I will be doing the lesson plan in for next week,
Yes.
I don't really fully know their background. So for that little first one about like if they have like they have a specialist that comes to see them in the classroom, I'm not sure since I'm not there all 5 days with this little classroom. So for that background part, it won't be very detailed.
It's all right. You write what you know, and that's all you can do. If you think that someone has one, and you don't know the details, then you can maybe add a sentence saying, I believe specialist comes in once a week to talk to some of the students. I don't know how many. But if you don't know that information, then you just put what you know. And you can even specify, because I'm not there every week, I don't know some details.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
absolutely nothing wrong with that. Because I don't know if you'd be allowed to know they have an IEP as doing your clinical. Is that something they would tell you?
Since this one's on the daycare on campus, I'm not really sure if they do have an IEP or those stuff. But for one of the kids, I do see maybe on one of the days of the week, they do have a therapist to come. They do, but not everybody. Since like There's some of like for this daycare, they're like half day or full day, so they're
Gotcha.
like different.
For the one that you know has a therapist, I think you could specify it because it does factor into the, where is it, socio-emotional
first one.
development. And so I think it's worth mentioning. Because, kids have a therapist means they probably have, are developing either at a different rate or they had some baggage that, could very well affect how they learn. So it's worth mentioning that first therapist.
Okay. And it would be kind of similar to this for the one I have right.
Yeah. Giving a paragraph for each one like you did is a very well suited format.
Okay. That would be after these little checkpoints. I write the two or one paragraphs. This is the second element. My professor said some of these I can combine them, but I'm not sure which little element would I combine. I don't really have to fully do all 15 or 14 little elements, since some of them are similar.
Gotcha. Explain the importance of the lesson in relation to the student's current level of development, current research and theory about children's growth, learning and development, as well as children's prior experiences and knowledge. Explain how your chosen instructed methods achieve your stated objectives. Okay. Explain the importance of the lesson in relation to student's current level of development, current research and theory about children's growth, learning and development, as well as children's prior experiences and knowledge. Fair enough. So, that's going to connect to, this is how children learn. And at this stage, here are some of the methods that are good. I chose this method because it accomplishes, these types of reasons, because based on what I've seen, my students feature, these types of attributes, which make that method fit better than others.
When I did the other one, it's the same kind of lesson plan format. My professor from the previous one gave us like these little guidelines to fill in to answer these questions.
Yeah.
Like the goal, and then these are the six of them to connect to the.
And I would borrow all of them. It gives you a very structured format and makes it clear to the teacher, what part of the prompt you are responding to.
I don't think I might really know the theory one since I don't have the textbook. This was a similar idea of textbook with the theorist.
Right.
I borrowed it from here, the library. Yeah. So I might need to re-borrow that book to fill that part.
Yeah, or you could just, try to look up what are some instructional approaches for kindergarten students or preschool.
Yeah, preschool.
For preschool students. And it probably will give you a satisfactory amount, and then you pick the one that sounds best. Then you just find some type of peer-reviewed article that discusses it in a little more detail.
Okay.
You could do it without the book. But of course, yes, if you can get your hand on the book, it probably makes it easier.
And then this is the third element about the central focus.
Central focus. What concepts do you want students to know? Your concepts must be developmentally appropriate and must take into consideration the active, multimodal nature of young children's learning. These should be written as statements. For example, food helps us live, grow, and stay healthy, or there are many types of birds, or a clock is a tool that we use to tell time. Give students a sense of where they're going by stating the concept you will be teaching them. Okay.
I'm not really sure about that part, the concept part.
Your concepts must be developmentally appropriate and must be taken to active multimodal. So the concept, I think you could look at stuff like Common Core standards for preschoolers and things of that nature. And then, grab the applicable one. So for example, since, they're counting to 20 effectively, looking at the Common Core standards for preschoolers, there's definitely going to be one about like math stuff, such as, counting and sorting, one-to-one ratios and stuff like that. You would just take the applicable one and then have to come up with some type of title that encapsulates that concept or objective. So, I don't know. Could you do? There are many types of learning to count to 20. No. I mean, that's a very basic one, but that kind of seems to be, what those are expressing. Of course, those are more fun, but that seems to be like the layout.
I think that is what this really would be, the counting for 220.
I think so. But like I said, you can go and look at like the Common Core, because it gives standards and goals for each sort of level, and sort of piggyback off what they say are the like math ones for preschoolers, or the one that sounds close to counting for 20. Because I know there is one for counting. I just don't remember its exact wording.
For this part, would there be more since like I'll be doing the reading too, and and the other part?
You'd probably have two. One for the reading, and then one for the counting. Although more specifically, it'd probably be for listening, because you're the one reading.
Yeah.
So you're training their listening skills. So that's how you'd have to do it. Listening and counting, because that's what the students are doing.
Yeah, okay. It'll be the listening and counting for this part.
Yeah, for the concepts. Of course, in terms of the actual wording, the Common Core will do way better than I could.
And the objectives, it would be 3.
All right. Measurable behavioral objectives. What do you expect students to know and be able to do by the end of the learning experience? What important disciplinary constructs like content knowledge and skills do you want students to accomplish by the end of this learning experience? Include the audience to measurable observable behavior, the condition or context, and the degree of mastery expected. Use Bloom's taxonomy to determine the level of rigor of this learning experience. For example, is your activity of the remembering, knowledge level, comprehension level, so on and so forth. Are your objectives measurable and achievable within the lesson? Do they align with your lessons, activities, and assessments? So based off the activity you provided earlier, I didn't really see an assessment in terms of like how well they listened or understood the story.
I've met from like reading it, it's kind of like with the balloon, since some of the pages did include a little balloon there. And it does, I'm connecting it back to the 20, since I'm not sure, before my lesson, will the teacher be still able to like do a little bit of her circle time?
Right.
She usually starts at 9:30. And then her activity, the 20, will be, or like the number activity art project will be like at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So she might be still kind of have her little circle time within that little mid time before 10. I'm not sure, but yeah. So like they do have that little sheet 1 to 100, and then like they point with a little pointer to the numbers, and then circle the number 20, and then show them the number 20 on a little whiteboard thing.
So that's what we can do. But what about the story? Are they just supposed to listen to it and enjoy it?
Yeah, I think that's what I was like, since this that week, that Sunday would be his birthday.
Mhm.
So like this whole month, March, they're just celebrating.
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Then yeah, your objectives then are probably going to just be geared towards the math one then.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm kind of mainly trying to be doing with the objective.
Yeah.
Since it is like before I even talk to my professor and my teacher, she already is coming in the time of that activity. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And then once more, the Common Core would be able to sort of give you concrete objectives based off the overall concept that you chose to help you sort of shape specifically what you're wanting them to know or have accomplished. Of course, an easy one is, be able to count to 20 or be able to add to 20.
I think this is the more simple one, and this is the one that I search up in this one.
Curriculum standards. What curriculum standards will address in your lesson provide? Well, there you go. Yeah, use Common Core, so and so.
This is more connected to what I have.
Yep. Yep. So it'll piggyback in reverse. The Common Core will give you the big one, kind of like what I was saying to look up for the earlier, and then when it's explaining its specific components, that's what you would use for your objectives. You're absolutely correct. So
for the objectives, you think I really still need 3s for it, or?
I don't think so. I think 2, if not 1, would be fine.
Because I'm mainly trying to still do their like 20 activity, the counting of 20 little art project activity.
Yeah.
In here, so yeah.
Yeah, I think 1 to 2 is more than enough.
Because the reading of it is not really. I'm trying to connect it to the little art project in some way, and then like they're still gonna do their little counting of that.
Yeah, 1 to 2 objectives will be fine because that will, talk about all the things you could do with the counting based off of the curriculum standard that you chose.
So for these two, you think I should find the standard first or before I write the objective?
Yes, because the standard will then have objectives within for that specific component that you can then use as a basis for writing your objectives.
So this one first, then that.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll make it easy.
So do you think these two, since right now this whole paper is like 7 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are different, but they just say I need the language here too.
Language demands. Language and literacy, academic language. How would your learning experience provide opportunities for listening, reading, viewing, speaking, writing, and visual representation? What vocabulary would you target for further explanation so students can access new material? What other language functions, syntax, and discourse will students need in order to succeed in the lesson? What evidence-based supports will you provide to help students in your class all succeed? Think about payment differentiation for your individual groups of students in your whole class to help them address the syntax equipment. Okay. I think yours is simple in this one because you're mainly focusing on the math.
Then I will kind of not really with those other ones, but they're kind of seeing still.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would still say.
Would they be speaking kind of since they're counting?
Yeah, if you have them count out loud, I would put in speaking. Speaking, viewing, visual representation, and then listening for the little bit of the reading portion. And, understanding directions.
I won't include reading since I'm doing the reading. They're not reading at all.
Right.
But they will. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think all of them, but writing and reading, you could, talk.
Unless I know for every number they usually have like a little number.
Right.
Of like 20 something or like 19 or something of like the little line kind of format they trace it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, should I include that in that thing or just?
Are there words? Or is it just like the raw number?
Because so-called next Tuesday, my teacher, she already have an activity plan for that day, but she might have to push it to the next day. So
Right.
they will have that little tracing thing.
Yeah, but it's just tracing the number,
Yeah,
right?
and yeah,
So there's no word.
no words.
Then I wouldn't put that as reading.
Okay.
Because that's, at that point, that's tracing a shape, right? So yeah, I wouldn't count that. I would not count that as reading. I just count that as visual representation.
Yeah. Okay. So it will mainly be listening, viewing, and speaking in the visual.
Yeah.
Unless I include something for them that trace of the number.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless it goes something right. So you can maybe count tracing as writing.
Because they might be writing their name on the little art project too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
or like when they usually do those little numbers, they have write the number 20 in each corner and then their name also, and that they do tracing of the word or the number and the word.
Okay, so there is the word.
Yes.
Then yeah, we could do writing.
Okay. So everything except reading.
Yes.
And I'm not sure the vocab words. What would
20. And what other math words are relevant for counting?
for this one they're mainly just counting from 1 to 20. So
Then I would just have the vocabulary be from 1 to 20. That's what they need to know to be able to do this lesson.
yeah. So I don't really need those other language functions, right? Of like the syntax and stuff. Since they're mainly counting.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like you're doing anything with grammar. It's just counting.
And then this last, the fourth bullet point is just to kind of talk about the students themselves.
Yeah. Well, what evidence-based supports will you provide to help individual students in your class environment? So it's just like, what kind of supports can you give them to help with counting? So, for example, this slightly different idea, but hold up, my brain's tired. I'm trying to figure out how to type words. I mean, I know this is different than what you're doing. But like for example, a multiplication chart. That's an evidence-based support. So maybe there's one for counting, right?
They just do it to 100, but they know they're just only doing that's what they have.
This one?
Yeah.
It's adorable. Then I'd count that as an evidence-based support.
But I won't be showing it during the.
Oh, so they won't have it?
They will see it if they still gonna have the little lesson circle time before the 10. I'm not sure will that still happen or not.
Then I think you could avoid it because otherwise it says help them grasp the vocabulary or syntax that you're going to use in class. So I'd mention the chart and that'd be it. Because it'd still be in the classroom, right?
It is, and yeah, in the classroom, yes.
Yeah, then I'd say that that's pretty much like the one thing that you could put there. Because that's the one sort of helpful support that they have. Because I guess, they could run up to it, right? Well, I hope they don't run, but they could go up to it and like count it out, right?
The teachers have a little whiteboard. They usually like ask them how what numbers you add together make 20 or like 19 and stuff like that. They do so-called kind of before they even read the story and the activity. They do the numbers before.
So I count those things. Those would be some evidence-based supports.
Okay. And then this would be about the materials.
Yeah. So for evidence-based supports, you could say something like, there are counting charts in the all right, hold up. Let me stop talking for a second. All right, so yeah. Charts and stuff, other section. And then the materials and equipment is specifically just the materials and equipment for the lesson.
So would this be mainly for my lesson or
Yes.
like every that's like
No, just your lesson. So you'd have the Dr. Seuss book. I assume it's a physical book.
Yes.
And then you'd have plates and then pom-poms and confetti.
Yeah.
And then I guess the counting sheet that you said that like they traced the number 20 or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And I assume some glue because how they got to make the pom-poms and stuff stick.
Yeah,
Right?
glue.
So glue. So that's 6 things.
Yes.
Of course, if there's more, you list those too. But based on how you explained the lesson to me, that's all I could think of that you've told me. And that would be it. Let's see. Info materials, use worksheets sparingly, which you are. Select adapt and creatives and authentic. Yeah. Yeah. Provide acknowledgments versus both learning strategies and content in APA format. Okay. So if you got that from someone, right?
Yes. It's from preschool inspiration.
All right. Well then, as you saw in that last part, you just put the name of the website, APA format. You use Purdue Owl for that, and then you do.
I'll put it in here.
Correct. That seems to be what that final one is saying. And then you do, instructional plan adopted from the name of that website. Just to give, credit. Like, this is where I'm borrowing ideas from. I want some sugar. Otherwise, so you list your materials, you cite the website that you got the idea from, and then give a citation.
In this part. And then I won't be using any technology. This is mainly reading, and then they do the little art project.
Well, then I guess you get to skip it.
That's okay, right?
Oh, absolutely. If you're not using technology, you're not using technology.
Because these are, I don't need to, right?
No. Right. Planning for a positive learning environment, engagement. Planning demonstrates evidence of a positive and collaborative learning environment that encourages positive social interaction, active engagement in learning, and self-motivation. Planning shows evidence and strategies that build learner self-direction and ownership of learning.
For this part, what is?
I mean, they're doing independent work, so it's a positive learning environment because you're encouraging the kids to do the work, helping them out, taking their work with them, counting with them, supporting them. But it's not really, and I guess to wing it, you could say it's collaborative between you and the student in that, you guys are working together. They're doing the initial thing, but then they come to you to check to see how they did. And if they messed up, you then work together with the student to solve what went wrong.
Okay. For this part, the engagement.
That's one, how are you planning about shows evidence or strategies that build learners' self-direction and ownership? Well, you're having it doing themselves. And they're taking charge because they get to decide where they put it on the plate. It's up to them. I think that would be like your explanations of the direction and ownership would lead into that portion of the activity. And
then And it's the 10th element, time management.
Planning for positive learning environment, time management. Planning shows evidence of appropriate pacing for the lesson. Planning shows evidence of a backup plan for the class and individual in case some parts of the lesson take longer or shorter time than planned. Kind of what we were talking about in terms of, how long does the reading actually take versus how much time you're giving it because it could take longer. So
because at 11 they have their little either like indoor play or outside play, so I have to finish everything before 11. So
Right. And we gave it 45 minutes,
Yes.
which includes leeway. So that's kind of what you would explain there. How did you arrive at that time? Why? It's just as simply you put in, this is how long it should take, but here's how much time I'm actually going to give for the activity because things always go wrong. That's the idea.
Because I know some of them will still be working on the little project. There'll be like the one or two be the last to finish the project.
Right. Yeah, so that covers that section.
Because when they're doing these little activities, when they're done, they usually go play after. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. You just explained your rationale for why you put the time as it was.
Would I kind of indicate that, like when they're done, some of them might be already going to do free play or something in this part? Since that's what they usually do, the kids in the class after their art activity of counting or something.
You could, but I'd say focus strictly on why the lesson duration was it what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So, why did you choose for the reading to be this many minutes? Why did you choose for the activity to be this many minutes? What was the rationale?
Okay. And then this is just my procedures of everything.
So, kind of like what you explained to me earlier, except just more step by step and more fleshed out. What are you doing every step of the way?
So since you said maybe I start at like 10 when reading, which little part would I put it in?
Still think that'd be set/warm-up, right? Because effectively the reading is the warm-up. So I put it up here.
In here.
Yeah. Because the activity is, the second portion.
So I would so call for that. This is an example of what I'm doing, right?
Which in this case would be the plates, compounds.
That would be mainly the reading.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how it will be on Tuesday next week. Like if they're still gonna have their circle time or not. Like so called, I get there, they're doing free play, and then at 9:30, that's when they have their circle time on the carpet. And during that time, they do their normal routine of stuff, and then they will read the book. I'm not sure would they still do that, so I'm not sure how it will be happening.
You just write this based off what you know now. You can't control what's going to happen. This is just the plan. So I just write the plan as you think it is likely to play out and not think too much about what may or may not happen on that day.
Okay. For that part. Since, well, yeah, for that part, I might be not really sure in some ways of how it will happen, really, but a little idea.
Yep. And you can even account for it. This is what I plan to do, but this activity may or may not be happening. So this is the plan, but it could change. You can even say that. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay. And then the checking for understanding.
When they come up and you count it together.
and then redo it. What would that?
All right. Let's see. So this more seems like the actual activity, or them doing it, whereas the modeling one would be you doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Checking for understanding would be asking the kids the question, what did we just do? Like, so you made the plate. You don't have to do it to 20 necessarily, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so you might have just done it to 10. And then you could, as the students, okay, how many pom-poms did I put on the plate?
Mm-hmm.
And they would be able to be like, 10. Like, okay, let's count. And they go, 1, 2, 3. That would be checking for understanding. And then the guided practice would be like, you guys do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Except go to 20.
For this part, the checking for understanding, it can be done after the example.
Yes.
For this part, you think I would ask each kid or like as a whole class?
I think you could just ask as a whole class.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's only 10 of them. I think you could ask as a whole class.
Okay.
And then the guided practice is when they do it themselves.
And then this can be that little counting together?
Yeah. Either with you or with another student for them to check each other's work. That is what you could put there, yes.
This independent.
Well, yeah. That's what I thought would go. Because you don't really have like guided practice in the true sense, because you kind of seem to be going straight from the example to independent.
Yeah.
But you said you don't need everything, right?
She said to fill out the stuff. I can combine some of the stuff together.
Then I might abandon the idea of guided practice in a sense and just put collaborative learning with independent.
So delete this part.
I'd say so. Because it very much seems you take them from example to you guys do it. But I think you can mix the you guys do it with collaborative learning so that, like, two students together could be like, I think I did it. And have them count together to think if they did it correctly.
And then the closure.
So it's, bringing them together at the end.
Most of the time after that little activity, they're already playing. So.
And I guess you try to end like a minute or two early and be like, what did we do? And like, we made plates and counted to 20. And then make them to count to 20. And then tell the rascals to go play.
Mm. We do so-called turn off the light to indicate it's like time to clean up or something. So.
Yeah. You can turn off the light, indicate time to clean off, spend a minute, just, um, my brain died. I know what word I wanted to say. So I wanted to use recapitulate, which is such an unnecessary word. But I can't think of another word, so we're going to use recapitulate, which means to summarize. Thank you. Easy word. Just summarize what you did in that minute right before cleaning up. All right. And unfortunately, we are out of time. But did that decently help clarify the steps?
Yeah. Because that's the only step right now for me to just fill out this little paper
All right.
and then give it to my professor to have a look and the cooperating teacher to have a look too before I do the thing on Tuesday.
Sure. All right. Well, then let's get you signed out. And then, yeah, feel free to make another appointment tomorrow or something if you wanted to go over the rest. And if you're feeling comfortable, then, all the best putting this into practice for next Tuesday.
You don't, are you here on Monday next week? I don't have I think I may go with you for next Thursday.
Yeah, no, I'm only here Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm pretty much here all of Friday, so whatever works for you.
Okay.
All right, we met in person on the fourth floor of the library. What did we discuss?
My lesson plans for my first clinical activity.
Discussed the, what is that, ECED?
Yeah.
ECED lesson. Right. We met in person at the fourth floor of the library. Here we discussed the ECED lesson plan. Sound good?
Mm.
All right, just signed out. We're ready to go. Everything's set. Hope it all goes well. Hope it all goes planned.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. How is the weather?
Thank you.
Yeah. What?